that healing that you have been doing, this is the year for action. I'm channeling this message. And actually, I've felt a little block the last couple of days through things that are going on in my own life and my own healing that I'm doing. And I was like, Spirit. And Spirit said to me, don't make a video yet, not until you have your message. And I woke up this morning and I didn't have my message. And I sat at my desk and Spirit said to me, Victoria, your healing that you are doing this year needs to be put in action. That is what you got to share with people, because that is the same message for them. And I was like, oh my God. Spirit want you to know that the last 10 years have been really, really hard for you. And what you have been through in the last 10 years has changed your life. And so many people can say, well, that's for everyone. But no, the ones that are drawn to this post, no, you have been through, I really want to say, almost like as if you haven't caught a break. I want to say to you that is watching this, so first and foremost, my name is Victoria Bedford. I'm a spiritual medium, I'm a tarot reader, and I'm a spiritual teacher. I share channeled messages. I share my experiences. I share meditations. I channel spirit for myself, but also for you guys. The last 10 years for you has felt like you haven't been able to catch a break. It has felt like one thing after another. I know this because Spirit are channeling it through my life. And my life, 10 years ago, I went through an awakening. And I feel like this has happened to many of you. And actually, I don't even know if some of you know that you've been through awakening because you're a little bit stuck in it. An awakening happens after loss, death, depression. And that awakening doesn't show itself as an awakening to those who don't know or feel or cross the paths of what an awakening looks like. And that's why so many people end up stuck. Because actually, when you go through great big losses of self, I want to say for you, if you're drawn to this post, there is a massive reason for it, because you are very similar to me. Your experiences will be similar to me. And there is a grouping of you watching this that this message is absolutely for. Maybe this message isn't for some of you, and what it really is bringing you to is going to look at my other messages, because whatever the reason is, you've been brought here for a reason, even if this isn't your message. But I very rarely feel that Spirit leads you somewhere if that message isn't for you. So maybe there's parts in it. But I want to say to you that those of you that have been through deep depression, that have lost somebody so significantly and traumatically, whether that loss was expected or whether you nurtured that loss or whether you knew that loss was coming, it's still traumatic. Whether you've lost something so great in your life externally, internally, those of you that are drawn here, that awakening comes after that, a loss of self, a loss of something so close to you, person, situation, that actually it triggers you into understanding that life needs to be different. And the reason why some of you are here is maybe because you haven't realised that. Maybe you've gone through one thing after another in the last 10 years, lost a part of yourself and feel like, what next? Like, what does this mean? For those of you that are here in that part, this means you are meant to learn what your awakening means for you. You're meant to learn that actually this year, the healing that you've been doing has to be put into action. Whether that is you have been in a place in your life where you haven't known who you are for so long, and you've been spending time reflecting and changing things, but actually this year is the pinnacle year to understand, what does an awakening mean? To understand, how is that awakening going to change your life? To understand you don't have to suffer any longer, that you can learn about who you are and what it all means. And there's another group of you who have realised they were on an awakening, and you put time and effort into your healing to understand what that awakening meant. And this year is the year for action. But it doesn't matter which group you're in, because you've all been healing in your own way. You've all been healing in a way where you are trying to overcome the things that you've experienced. But the truth is about healing is you're not meant to overcome what you've experienced. You're meant to integrate what you have experienced and how that has changed you. You will never ever be who you were after who you were prior in anything. You will never be, if you've lost somebody close, if you've lost your job, your home, if you've lost a part of yourself, if you felt lost in yourself, if you've struggled with relationships, you will never be who you were prior to all of that, because that changes you. And part of your healing is learning who are you now, learning why has that experience affected you so much, or what can you take from that experience, or how can you step into the power of who you are? Because this year is your year for power. The previous post, the previous channel message of abundance, it's almost like it's all waiting for you. But almost you can't have abundance without having action to putting that healing into practice. When we're in a healing period and we're trying to overcome things or integrate things or try and understand what life means now, we can get trapped. We can get trapped in the sadness of what we've lost, in the pain of what life was, and the healing we try and create a new life and what it looks like. But at some point that has to have action, and that's this year for you. It's waiting for you. The action of, I'm going to be so honest with you. For me, I cared for my nan for 7 years, and the last 2 years she's been poorly, and she died September last year, and she was like my mother figure. And losing her and watching her pass was so painful, and healing and processing and stepping back and allowing life to just happen. And obviously I'm not over it, I'm still grieving, but this year I had to realise that this year was action. Last year, the year before that, my life was consumed with caring for her, yes, doing my spiritual work on the side when I could fit it in, yes, but my healing was about navigating that period. And I mean, that's just that period. It's been going on for 10 years, but what I'm trying to say to you is, it felt for me that it was one thing after another, one thing after another. Was I going to catch a break? And the real lesson that I was meant to learn amongst all of that is no, you don't ever catch a break. You just have to learn what is occurring and how much of your energy it deserves. We give so much energy to everything that goes wrong, a little argument, a friend. We give energy to somebody that cuts us up and we're mulling about it all day. We have to learn that actually certain things deserve that depth of energy, but really certain things don't. We've got to learn that there's certain things we can just learn to let go of. A little argument, a disagreement, a tone, a look, something not going the way that we want. When we learn to breathe into it and let it go, it doesn't consume us. And that's the same with understanding your healing. At some point, we have to understanding healing isn't as much about leaning into the pain as it is about having action to create that life that you do deserve. And life is a creation. So many of you will just be waiting for tomorrow, waiting for next week, waiting for what life's going to bring you. Almost like sat waiting. But life, that's you giving your power away to life. That's you just hoping with the roll of a dice that next week's going to be a bit better, that next month's going to be a bit better. What you have done with your healing, because some of you, if not all of you, have been putting effort into your healing, putting effort into what you do want, what you don't want, what your boundaries are, people you want in your life. The situations that doesn't make you happy do not make you happy. But this year has to be about action. Okay, so a lot of that healing has been done, but the action has to be, what now do you want to bring into your life that you deserve? Do you want to meet more people for friendships? Do you want to set that business up? Do you want to go back to college? Do you want to start reading more books so you learn something? Do you want to start a yoga class, a pilot's class? Do you want to start an awakening course? Do you want to start working with somebody to heal? Do you want to start? This year is the year of action. Because healing without action can create suffering. Because quite often people who are trying to heal get stuck. You get stuck. Are you stuck? I hope you're not. But actually, maybe if you're watching this video, then maybe you are a little stuck. Maybe you feel like, I'm trying to heal, I'm trying to get over it, I'm trying to grieve. The truth is, you're never going to get over anything. You're going to learn to live after the experience. Say you lose somebody, you're never going to learn to get over who you've lost. It doesn't matter how old they were and whether it was their time. It doesn't matter if you knew it was coming. Losing somebody that you love so dearly, you're not going to be the same person prior. And your healing is going to be as much about learning how to create a life that's worth living, but without that person. And that does mean that you're going to feel guilt at times, like maybe, you shouldn't be happy again because that person's not here, and how can you be happy when they're not here, depending on the loss. And I feel like there must be many of you that have lost somebody because that's really impacted you, because I wouldn't be bringing this through from spirit. Dads, brothers, mums, sisters, like whomever, friends, whomever you've lost. And it doesn't even matter how long ago it is. If you haven't learned to integrate that loss in your life to understand how it's impacted you, you won't be able to learn who you are after it. Learning that guilt is normal, but it's also man-made. That actually, the saddest part is we do all pass at some point, and we have to make our life worth living. Life does not just become worth living. You have to make it worth living. And that's why this year is year of action. This year, it's almost like Spirit want to say to you, well done. Well done, because you've recognised so much. But maybe you're still scared to implement it. Maybe you're still like, I haven't got enough time for myself. I haven't got enough time to integrate that in my life. I can't make those changes. I shouldn't go on holiday. I shouldn't take more time out for myself. I shouldn't spend money. But Spirit's like, when you don't give to yourself in that way, you're telling the universe that you're not worthy. You're telling the universe that you don't deserve it. And actually that plays into an energy that you're going to get more of what you show the universe. If you show the universe that you don't matter, that you're going to put everyone else first, that you don't know how to move past your healing or suffering, then you're going to get more of that. Because everything we energetically connect to and focus on, we get more of. So sometimes people's healing turns into being trapped because they're so busy looking for things they need to heal without also turning to things they need to learn to enjoy and experience, that now they're trapped in their healing. They're trapped in a perpetuating cycle of, I need to fix the next thing about me. I need to look for something else I need to heal. I need to constantly be on this quest for healing and growth. But that means nothing if you don't know how to incorporate healing and growth. If you don't know how to incorporate what you've learned into your life by taking action. You could sit there all day long and say, yeah, I'm worthy of more. But unless you do something about it, then are you? You could say all day long, well, I'm not really happy in these connections, but, well, that's my lot. Okay, but where's the action? The action of, you don't have to walk away from everyone, but the action this year. You are so worthy. The action. Spirit is saying to me, this year, take action. Do that course. Save that money. Go out more often in different experiences. Because that will create abundance. Stop looking. I've got to say this. Stop looking for things to heal and fix. There's some of you that keep looking for things you need to heal and fix. You keep yourself trapped in this ever suffering of what you think your life should look like. So many people, and I think there's a lot of you on here that are like, happiness looks a certain way. Stop. That's got to stop, because happiness doesn't look a certain way. Happiness can look like you've still got shit going on, but you just know how to navigate it in a healthier way so it doesn't consume you. Happiness can look like, people think that happiness means nothing goes wrong. Happiness means that life is cushy and going my way. That's not happiness. Happiness is learning the tools through healing to recognise that actually every week is going to bring a problem of some kind. Start filtering those problems. Start putting those problems in categories. is every problem that you're showing up to deserving of all the energy you're giving it? Because if we forget our keys and then we make it such a big problem, we're huffing and puffing and we're angry and we're stressed, well, you're giving all your energy to the fact that you can't find your keys right now. Calm down, find your keys. If you can't find your keys, it's happened, deal with it. We get ourselves in such big tizzies and our nervous systems gets activated over the slightest bit of stress, which doesn't teach anybody how to navigate stress, because you're showing up to every stressful situation so activated, and you've got to learn to put a pause. And this is probably the action you need to start learning this year, learning to put a pause and a breath and a 5-minute moment between you and what is going on. If I lose my keys and I feel triggered and stressed, I breathe, lower my shoulders, and I ask, okay, please help me find my keys. And I either find them, and if I don't find them, then there's something I'm going to learn about that day, or that day just happened the way that it happened. There's nothing I can do to change it. I can learn from it and put my keys, okay, I'm going to hang my keys up properly. There's always something that you can learn from things. I think as a society, we're so caught looking at the problems all the time. Looking at the problems, got to fix them, got to fix them. Well, we've got to look for the solution. We've got to look at putting the breath and the pause between things so that we're not consumed by it. You know, for the last 10 years, I want to say the majority of you have been through so much that a lot of you have done your healing, and to be able to use this year, to use your healing in a sense of really empowering you, whether you're setting up a group yourself, whether you're wanting to talk to other people about your healing, or whether you're just wanting to or needing to learn to enjoy your life this year. Book that holiday. Book the holiday. Go on that course. I do courses. Some people are like, this year is the year. Do it. Do it. Make the spontaneous choices, because you keep waiting for the right moment, your brain will keep finding reasons why the right moment isn't happening. I haven't got the money. I don't have the time. It's not right yet. I don't feel in the right place yet. Your brain is wired to do that. Because most people that are watching this will have a brain that is wired to always be on guard. Spoke about it in other videos. Because when you grow up in adverse experiences and you see a lot of chaos around you, or parents struggling, or parents struggling with emotional regulation, or with mental health, or with working all the time, whatever it is, when your brain is wired to constantly look for problems to fix, because that's what our brains are wired to do, especially in our childhood, in adulthood, your brain wants to keep you safe. Safe from healing, because healing's uncomfortable. Safe from action, because action's uncomfortable. Action, and your brain will go, nah, it's not the right time. Nah, I ain't got the money. But if you really sat down and thought about the money, maybe you could save it a little bit. Nah, I don't feel in the best place. Well, you're never ever going to feel in the best place to make action. Doesn't matter how much healing anyone does. The only way you'll ever see how healed you are is by taking that action, but you're still going to feel fear. During my healing period and taking action with my business, I kept saying, I'll start the course next year. I'll do it next year. I'm not in the right place yet. There was no such thing as right place, right time. You have to create it, because you've got to learn from it. You've got to learn. And there is a point where things absolutely aren't right. You know, I had to stop courses the end of last year because my nan was dying. I need to be there for. There's times that things absolutely aren't right, but most of the time, 70 to 60% of the time, people's brains are creating those reasons as to why it's not right. And that's the brain trying to keep you comfortable, because it's, you know, action feels uncomfortable. You've got to face the fear and do it anyway. You've got to realise that you're not going to build confidence without learning to build confidence. People say to me, well, can you teach me how to be confident? Can you, you know, when am I going to be confident? Well, you're not going to learn confidence until you do things that you're unconfident in and you achieve something in them which teaches you confidence. You're not going to be resilient. You're not just going to learn resilience and suddenly become resilient. You're going to build your resilience over time by facing uncomfortable situations that you're challenged in. You're not going to learn to not let fear drive you until you start showing up to small amounts of things that make you fearful, so you can build the tolerance to fear and know it's not going to kill you. People are adverse, and a lot of you on watching this are caught, I feel, in a rut of letting your uncomfortable feelings keep you trapped. You're almost like running. Your healing is comfortable to a degree, but then you're running. No, it's too uncomfortable. No, I'm too fearful. No, it's not the right time. The next stage of the healing, the next state after the processing and feeling and crying and validating and trying to get through things is action. And that's for you this year. Facing the fear, doing small things differently, being a little bit more spontaneous in a little bit of a different way. You've got to learn to sit with those uncomfortable feelings that tell you shouldn't do something. Because those uncomfortable feelings make you feel like, no, I've got to avoid that. I don't want to avoid the pit in my stomach. But the more you run from it, the smaller your world gets. Because your world then is defined by how comfortable you want to stay. Comfortability creates stagnancy. So this year, my friends, just like me, even though I've been creating action, there's more action that needs to be created. There's a bigger action, and you will know what this means for you. Sit with this message. Take what you can from it. These messages are brought to you for reasons, because there's things in it that can absolutely be like a penny drop moment for change for you. Mwah! Namaste.